Leeds. What is happening? Welcome to Working Hours, a show about a place called Leeds, a time called now, and an activity called work. Working Hours wants to record 1,000 loiners over the course of this, the most important decade in the history of the human species, and ask them about what they do all day and hear how they feel about it. My mission is to try to map out what my city, Leeds, a city that has declared a climate emergency, is doing during humanity's biggest emergency. On Working Hours, we hear how loiners have, are, and will be coping with our multiple crises: the global pandemic, Brexit, and of course, the ongoing and accelerating collapsing of capitalism, the state, and the climate through this decade. To do this, I need people like you, dear listener. Most of all, I need people who are in Leeds or who are from Leeds to come on this show and be my guests. So please join me and help me with this mission whenever and however you can. Critically, I will need people like you, dear listener, as financial backers. Please consider supporting or donating to this project. You can do so with a £1 monthly donation via either Patreon or Ko-fi, or you could donate any one-off amount to Working Hours via either Ko-fi or through the LibrePay button on the About page of Western Studios website. Thank you. My name is Simon, and this is all my fault. What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I grew up, I think I wanted to be like a PE teacher because I really like PE and I wasn't very good at. I like teaching like young kids sports, so I wasn't very good at. I couldn't teach like history or anything like that, or any foreign language. I'll fall flat on my face. So I wanted to do that when I was younger. So I tried to get into. It was like these metropolitan, as it was known back then. It's not known like that now. It changed the name every year. So I tried to get into there for sport, but I couldn't get enough UCAS points. I think that's still a thing. But the backup was a H&D course in computing.
Yeah.
So I did love computers. I still play a lot of video games. I'm so interested in technology. Yeah. So I fell back into that really. But I would like to become a teacher someday maybe, but I'm not sure because it's a bit of a risk now for me. So I'm getting on a bit, and it's going to be risk. It's going to be a complete career change. So
yeah, have you done any training then? Like, have you given training? Like,
there was a long time ago. There's a company called King Sports Camps, which used to take place. So they've knocked it down now. It used to take place in Leeds Girls High School before it's merged with Leeds Grammar School. Yeah. So I did that, but I had no formal training, so I had to like learn on my feet then. So I can still remember when I first took a kid took a session and it was like my hands were shaking. I was so scared, and I was like I had to think on my feet. So that was kind of good, but very intense. But no formal training. So
you're listening to Series 3, Episode 47, and to my guest, Benedict Lindley. This is another Zoom interview recorded on the 21st of October 2022. Hello, loves. Benedict Lindley started DJing on vinyl, which he still does, but is also embracing digital and its many creative possibilities. Benedict helps to run OpenDecksFC, where he edits the audio recorded at OpenDecksFC's nights and events for upload to their Mixcloud account. Benedict has a passion for promoting OpenDecksFC and helping other DJs getting started with DJing. His passion for OpenDecksFC has led to Benedict's biggest gig so far, supporting the Utah Saints. To find out more about OpenDecksFC, you can follow them on Twitter, twitter.com/OpenDecksFC. Okay, let's do this. Episode 76 of Working Hours with Benedict Lindley. So what is it that you do now then?
I work for a software company. It's called, but we're part of a bigger company now. It's called. I worked there since 2012. Okay. So I feel like I'm part of the furniture now. So it mainly consists talking to customers, dealing with their queries, and also dealing with tickets that come in, helping my colleagues, and lots of little bits and pieces. It's kind of like loads of roles rolled into one because I'm the oldest, I'm the most experienced now. So I'm like come like a little bit of a leadership role, and so if I do enjoy it, it can be stressful at times dealing with the public because some people they think I got a magic wand, I can fix the problems like left, right, and center, but that's not like in computer software. And then you also get the other end of the scale where the thing is an easy fix, but our product is very, very complex. They don't really know what goes on behind the scenes, because behind the graphic user interface is a massive database, and that has loads of tables and stuff like that. So I did at university. I did like database and stuff, so I know the consequences of doing something wrong, because you can break half the tables in database if you're not careful. So people think like I'm like a very magic wand and fix an issue within a week.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you attempt to do that, and then we break something else, I could break something else and something else. So that's why I have to say to people, we are dealing with it. Don't worry about it. But then they say, why can't you do it? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to relay the information that we're dealing with it, and that's it. I can't do anything else.
Yeah, because there's a point as well where it's like, well, from my end, it's not all pretty pictures of boxes.
Yeah,
and things that tell you what's going on.
Yeah,
like you get to a point where it's like just lines and lines and lines and lines of code, and
it is. Yeah,
go through. Yeah.
Sometimes I look at, especially with the DB. I mean, if I showed any of my customers a database, they'll get lost because it is it's very complex. But I'm interested in that as well. So kind of perks my interest. So I don't get bored. I don't get bored of that. I like investigation tickets. At the end of the day, I do password resets, but an investigation ticket where I have to solve a problem is good, because I did programming at university, and I solved multiple problems in that. So that's my kind of ideal ticket that to do. But each ticket is valid. So if I have to do a password reset, I have to do a password reset. But they're kind of boring because I literally do them all the time. So we'll autopilot.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
But then that's a lot of work, isn't it? It's like the small stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Reports and signing your name and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I deal with report queries, and they take the longest because I have to sit down off the phone, think about stuff, work out what it's doing.
Yeah.
And then work out whether it's a bug or it's meant to do that, and ask somebody else. They might take a few days to get back to me. So it's some things can be fixed quickly, some things can't. So people just have to accept that.
So you're doing that full time?
Yeah, I'm doing that full time.
And how long have you been doing it for now?
10 years. 10 years. 2012, so roughly about 10 years now.
Okay. Did you come straight off your HND and go straight into it, or did you kind of like journey around a bit first, or how did you get into it?
I did. I think after my HND, I used it as a bridging course to get on a degree course. Then after finished my degree, I got some jobs working in retail, because I was trying to get an IT job at that point, but it was quite tough. Then I left that job because they used to work with Maplin's a long time ago now, but it's no longer around. The website's still around, but it must be run by other people, not the actual company that used to run Maplin's shops. So I kind of left that, took a risk. Then after that, I worked a couple of temporary jobs. One was in my future role, which was work for Lloyds, doing helping people out on the phones, being IT support. So I was really good at that. I worked for Game for over Christmas. That was good. Got cheap video games for a while. Yeah, so I enjoyed that. And then I got offered a permanent job of installing TVs for me. So that was good. It's kind of stressful because the job, the actual company just want to put as many deliveries in as possible, and that caused friction between me and my friend, because we were doing so quick. I made mistakes, and at one point I thought about just quitting the job, but I couldn't because I had to pay the bills. Yeah. But then I was looking for the job inside. Then I applied to Yorkshire Graduate. I think it's still going. Okay. And then I went for was a developer job because that's what I wanted, but it was going really badly, and the developer guy got the support person that runs the support department, and then the rest is history. So, so I was kind of thankful for that person.
Yeah, I mean, I get the sense, and I've seen to have read stuff that there's quite a big sort of digital economy in Leeds.
I think there is.
Yeah, I mean, was it easy to find the work? Did you have to work quite hard to find it? Was it quite competitive, or was it, they still needed people?
I think it was quite competitive. It was quite easy to find IT jobs because there was loads of graduate Yorkshire who used Manpower as well to find the lawyers one, but that was only temporary, and they could have let me go at any point. So that was only meant to be like a temporary job. So I couldn't. When I got the permanent job, I thought I'll go to permanent job. I could have a base, And then I got through to the job. So.
So did you manage to start at, like, did they have you starting kind of front line and you had to work your way up, or did you come in at a sort of more back end, more, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, yeah, I'll let you answer.
I started at the first line support.
Yeah.
But I tried to go up in the company, but other people came in and it was kind of a weird way they did promotion. But I've got pay rises through the year. So I started around about, I think, £13,000 a year. I mean, I could in theory leave that company, go elsewhere, but I think I put too much effort now over 10 years of my life into the company. So I'm just going to keep on going for now, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously enjoy it. You've been there for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As it's good and bad points, but overall, it's a good company to work for.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So shall we go into your DJing before we sort of move on to the other questions? Because that's how we got in touch. So tell us a little bit about that then.
Yeah. So I've been DJing since 2000 roughly, actually. I still get my first pair of turntables about 2000. I bought them off a friend of mine who was upgrading his turntables. And I got into dance music at that point, but I think I used to go, but I wasn't old enough to go clubbing at that point. And I didn't know that much about dance music or house music or the kind of what I know now. But I was like, new and exciting, and I like to be creative. But I'm quite a shy person. What's the word for a person that doesn't? Is introvert or introverted?
Introvert.
Yeah, I think is that the right way? I think.
Yeah. Extrovert is out. Extrovert.
Yeah. So I'm an introvert at heart. So I struggle sometimes in front of like a load of people. But when I DJ, I relax, and that's a form of expression for me. So I started buying vinyl at that point because that was the dominant format. And I've still got a lot of vinyl in the house, such as like this stuff, which people don't use as much nowadays, or like digital. But I've kept it because there's some stuff you can't get digital wise. They're on vinyl. And I started just looking at the history of dance music and stuff like that. And I tried to get gigs at that point, but it was very difficult because I wasn't very confident. I could have done more at that point, but I'm not the most confident person ever. I suffer from anxiety and depression as well, which when you have really bad bouts of it, all you want to do is just go to bed or curl up in bed and shut the door.
Yeah.
But you can't really do that. So I got my first pair of turntables, and I started to learn to DJ, because back then you could buy CDs and stuff like that, but vinyl was the predominant format, and it wasn't easy to get into back then. Because the cost of 2 vinyl turntables and a mixer quite expensive. Yeah. So I saved up some money, got these, really enjoyed it, started building my collection. Had a few gigs in some bars when I was old enough to do that. Then further down the road, I upgraded to my turntables to a better one. But when I went to university, I left home and didn't have my turntables for a while. So they were in storage. But when I moved into this house where I'm now, I got my turntables back. So I started DJing just for my friends, really, and stuff like that. But the passion never died, really, because I still like music. I've got I listen to all types of music, not just dance music. I listen to like rock, garage. Because my friend who got me DJing was using a garage DJ. Yeah. So I really appreciate him. I haven't seen him for a long time now. I think he's still around, but we kind of lost contact with each other, which is unfortunate. But these things happen. Yeah. So I got my turntables back at that point. Started trying to get myself back on the scene and stuff. Then I don't know how I discovered. Well, it was called Open Turntables at that point with Tony. I don't know. I was looking on Facebook. I must have discovered it purely by chance, just to a certain extent. But it seems like I've been DJ that for ages now. It was like ages ago. And I thought, okay, I'll take the risk. What the worst could happen? I can mess with my mixing. I can make mistakes, but it's only in a bar. It's not like Ministry of Sound or anything. So I started DJing there on a regular basis. Yeah. Then Tony saw that I was really, really into it. So he gave me like access to the Facebook page that I'm in and Twitter page and stuff. So I started doing tweets about it. Then I suggested we should start recording it. as well, because I'm into audio editing, and I try to mashing songs together. So I tried to then I started to record it on a regular basis a while ago. So all my recordings are all on my computer. So I put them onto Mixcloud, and it gave me the opportunities to DJ like in Sheffield, and I've got, as I said in the thing, I got Utah States coming up in December. So that's really good, and so that's how my DJing progressed. So now I've gone digital now. So I've got DJ controller, and eventually I would like to DJ in a club at some point on a big sound system, because I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. So I want to look at, because you mentioned Utah Saints. That's another historic Leeds band. So tell us how you went about getting that first sort of gig, like, or when you were looking for gigs, like, were you straight in, were you like letter writing or door knocking, or like how confident were you sort of going up to people? How did you pitch that? And then tell us about how the Utah Saints came to be.
I think the Utah Saints came because I'm not the most confident person in the world. So I think Tony saw how enthusiastic I was, like dance music, because I'm my worst enemy. I'm a worst enemy at times. Yeah. Sometimes I think I can't DJ properly, and things are going on in my head. Yeah. But Tony's always been there to say, "No, you're fine." Yeah. So Tony reached out to the Old Woollen in Farsley, which is a venue which I've DJed at previously, and I think I must have impressed the owner. Where I want me to DJ as a warm-up act for Utah Saints. I'm even on the poster as well.
Yeah, it's nice.
So that's my thing. Oh yeah, and I've also DJed was a warm-up for Dave Haslam as well. For High Back Book Club, where we used to do open turntables was back then. Yeah. But now we do it in Farsley at the Constitution, which is OpenDecksFC. Yeah. Decks, because they've now taken it back in-house now. But I still got fond memories of that place. They think they always really appreciated me, and I appreciate them for giving me a chance. So I warmed up for Dave Haslam, which is a well-known DJ from the 90s and onwards. And so that was good. I got my picture with him. He's a very nice person. Then after DJ, I just saw him DJ and just had a few drinks and just party the night away. The weird thing is, Dave Haslam, I've got DJ cards with digital DJ tips, and Phil Moss, who's the owner, he knows him. So that's a weird connection, but
it's good to know people.
Yeah.
So you wanted to talk about kind of the changes, and you moved from kind of vinyl into digital. And as well, I'd ask the same question about sort of the competitive nature, sort of like, because my impression in the 90s of like people, because everyone wanted to be a DJ.
Yes. Yeah.
There was a lot of competition for kind of getting stuff and going places and trying to get the gigs. And
yes,
is that still the case? Like, people still want to, is there still a lot of people going into wanting to be DJs and kind of be that sort of DJ?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot, since the barrier to entry has been lowered now for DJing, where you can buy like a DJ controller for like about 200 odd pounds and get some software such as Recordbox, and then just start playing around with your files. There's a lot of DJs now compared to what they used to be, which is a good thing, because we need more DJs in the industry, which is good. But the problem now is that makes it harder for like a DJ to stand out, because you don't want to be doing the same thing as everybody else does, because otherwise you've got no defining characteristics or anything like that. For me, that's why I started doing my own edits, my own mashups, because the person that has them is me, nobody else. Yeah. So that differentiates me from the crowd. So I just hope at a certain point that you DJs are coming and appreciate what DJ come from. Yeah, because I get the sense sometimes they think it was all like done overnight, but it started in the 80s with house music, and I just want people to appreciate, the history, like video game history as well. I just want people to appreciate how far the gaming industry has come. So,
do you scratch?
I do have a scratch. I am learning to scratch on a scratch card.
Yeah. Did you ever get into like like the world DJ competitions and stuff where they're going really crazy with the scratching and the mixing? And
back when I was started DJing, I was mainly like a house DJ, but I did appreciate that. Yeah. And I've seen Mixmaster Mike live.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the band he's with now. What's the band he's with? He did Insane in the Membrane song, but I can't remember what. Cypress Hill, that's it. So Cypress Hill came, so I saw him there a long time ago at the Wardrobe, which I played recently for the music band after show parties. So that was good. So I got that through Open Turntables, and Tony wanted me to play some dance music after some indie. So I was really appreciative of him. I saw DJ Cuba, and he's just amazing. He makes it look really easy, but I don't think it is. He makes it look. I admit it could do it, but it takes hours of practice.
Yeah.
Literally. To get that good. I mean, when I first started into beat mix, it sounded like a train wreck. But now when I do it live, people look at me and say, "How do you do it that quick?" Well, it's just practice in the day, muscle memory, and listening out for how the slow or faster, and then stuff like I can't really explain how I beat mix because it's just various different factors.
Yeah,
because it's like driving a car. Once you learn how to beat mix, you can do it on anything like learning to drive a car. Once you learn to drive a car, you can drive any car you want. So, I mean, so you might not, if you don't drive your car, you might be rusty like I did recently. So I work from home now. So I don't drive the car that often. So I was like some of the games do a bit clunky. But there we go.
Okay, so we'll spend a little bit longer on this before I move on. So yeah, let's have a bit of discussion about you kind of move to digital, like because obviously with a lot of the digital stuff, you can auto beat mix.
Yeah, it can do. Yeah, and sing.
And
the dirty word in DJ circles.
So do you consider all that cheating? Is that kind of like, or does it aid things in kind of, does it present new possibilities for you as well? Does it offer options of being creative in new ways? And
I think so.
Yeah.
The thing is that you could easily sync. You can use sync, but the problem is if you set the beat off on the wrong. If you set the first beat off on the third beat at the bar, it's going to sound awful anyway. You could still sound really bad. I mean, it might be in time, but to me, I mean, it's really weird because when I'm going out now, when I go to house music night stuff, I can't listen to normal punch anymore. My DJs kick in. I'm like, okay, that sounds all right. I'm not criticizing anything. But I DJ so a lot of that. I got DJ.
Well, it's like anything, isn't it? It's like once you know how it's done, how it's made, you start to notice things, and you really notice when it's and you really notice when it's good as well. Like that was excellent.
Exactly. So I think they can use using an aid at the end of the day because DJing is just not about beat mixing and stuff. It's like music selection, the crowd, putting them in the right order. So I think it's more of a tool because I've DJed on 3 turntables before, which is not for the faint of heart. And I've had to put I put some vocals on the third turntable. I've had to keep my ears open and what I was doing, and because I got big arms, which is advantageous. I've leaned over and speed up a bit and stuff like that. But with sync, what you can do is you're a master. On Tractor, which I DJ with, you have 4 virtual decks. And then if I've got a vocal that I don't want to worry about beat match, I can sync it to the master tempo, which is the master track. And then now always keeping time with that, then I'm not worrying about it. To me, that's not cheating to a certain extent. That's not cheating. I think the more was tools, but the problem with it is it's got a really bad reputation of people, but especially people that come through from the older style like vinyl and stuff like that. They think it's cheating, but I generally don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because there's much more than DJing than just mixing. But if there's a new DJ coming in, I would have strongly advised them to learn to beat mix, even just to a reasonable standard. Because the thing is, if you get your first gig and they say you're going to have to use turntables on a mixer, there's no sync on that, or you might use some Pioneer CDJs that don't sync on them. And then you have to beat mix at that point. So I would strongly advise everybody to learn to beat mix first, and it's a good start, and then you can move on to doing effects, and maybe. But the sync button, all the modern features have led me to, I see them as a benefit more than a hindrance because I can be creative. I can use now virtual DJ to create ads, I can palace for mashups and stuff like that because that's all about. DJing for me has always been creative, and when I first got my first decks and stuff, I always found ways to for the beats and use the phosphate in a creative way and stuff. And the thing is, with DJing with just a vinyl, it forces you to do as much as you can with limited amount of stuff, which actually can be good.
Yeah. And plus, there's a time pressure with it as well.
Yeah.
Depending on how you organize yourself. But, you know, you've got however long of the song to pick your next song and to find it, like to go through all the music, find it, get it out, put it on, get it all lined up and get it working.
Yeah, especially with vinyl, because there's no loop function. I've been guilty of mixing too much of the song coming in. And I look at the vinyl, I was like, oh, well. I started to panic. But when I do my vinyl sets, actually, I pack them in record boxes. I put them in a record box and I pack 5 vinyls that I could play, then 5 hours that I could play. So I roughly know where I am. Because I like being spontaneous, because I don't want like just play to a play set list. I'll just press play and then go away. So because there's been some controversy around that. People, especially like I think Paris Hilton, for example. That's the one thing that kind of annoys me sometimes with DJing. You have like famous people like that. I've respect for trying it. I've got no problem with that. But she's like, to me, she used her name to get up the food chain, and she hasn't put the work in. Where people were like a low down, they're trying to bust in a gut to get to festivals. Then you got somebody else that turns up and just uses fame for DJing, which I'm not. That's the thing. One thing that makes me uncomfortable a little bit with the DJing scene, but that's just my opinion. It might be unpopular, but just my opinion. I've always been the fact that if you work hard enough, because my dad's like was into music, and he was master music, released Parish Church. He's released loads of like organ CDs as well. If you work hard enough, you get where you're going. So that's where I get my hard work ethic from my dad. I credit him for like keeping me getting me into music in the first place.
Yeah, quite the detour in terms of music genres.
Yeah, exactly. My thing is, my dad and my mum classes house. When I first started DJing, I was like, mum, because I had to play music loud because it's what designed. But mum hated the bass. She classed it as noise. But my dad just says, "Oh, yeah, it's just your music, what you like." So comes at the end of the section. But one thing I do have to credit mum for getting me into is Queen.
Yeah.
I do like Queen, and I because I used to go holiday to France. I used to play Queen all the time. So it's not bumped off of me now. So I do like Queen. So I'm looking for Queen, like house mix of the Queen tracks and stuff like that. So.
When you're playing, are you sort of playing for yourself, or are you playing for the crowd, or is that something that's kind of changed for you over time? Because obviously you started with just playing for yourself and your friends. But like, do you play for the room, or do you play for yourself, or is it both?
I play for the crowd now. I tend to play for the crowd, and what that gives me then, if I get the crowd on my side, I can point a track which they might be surprised about.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, because I'm always conscious of that. I got into a hard house when I was younger. And there's no way I'm going to play that in about 7 o'clock at night. It's going to kill the room. But you think, what the hell's that?
Yeah.
But I still have all the hard house music, the hardest scenes like techno and stuff. But I'm conscious of I don't want to alienate people.
Yeah.
Well, what I could do is I could play some music on my side. Then I could put in like a techno track, but the less hard kind. And then I could do that. So I'm always conscious of who I'm playing for. So when I do this Utah Saints gig, I won't be I don't want to play any big shoes, because that's Utah Saints the headliner. So I've always played like a mix of deep house and other bits and pieces just to get the mood going.
Yeah.
The worst I can do is I was conscious of playing up with Dave Haslam as well. I don't want to play any tunes that he might want to play, because we got similar kind of music taste. So I don't play like big house tracks, because I think I'm just trying to be respectful at the end of the day to the headliner, because as my parents taught me, treat other people as you want to be treated. So that extends to DJ.
Yeah. And plus it makes you more creative as well.
Yeah.
Like you have to think further, it's like, oh, well, they might be playing that. Well, if they're playing that, what should I play? Should I compliment, or should I play something different? Yeah,
exactly. And the good thing is that forces me to think outside the box. Because that's the one thing I do. Spend a lot of time doing is search on eBay for new vinyl, going on Beatport. I'm just trying to find tunes that aren't played that much. because I don't want to play everything that everybody else is playing.
Mm-hmm.
I will play a track if it's good that everybody else is playing, which is fair enough. I might try to like a different version of it maybe, and stuff like that. That's one of the things I do love, music discovery.
Have you seen Human Traffic?
I've heard of it, but never seen it.
It's never seen it? Oh,
it's one of the
good.
Yeah, I knew to see that. It's one of the. I've seen Kevin and Perry Go Live. I've watched that a few times because a lot of music from that, a lot of music I recognise from growing up.
Yeah.
So I'm just listening to the music more than the actual film.
Yeah,
but the film's pretty good. I mean, I think I don't know. I read somewhere that was a stereotypical DJ at that point, but I don't know how true that was. Because when I first got into house music, I was like 15, 16. I couldn't go out clubbing. I couldn't go to Ibiza.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm not sure really. It's like my mate said. We're talking about my mates recently. I said, "Oh, have you seen Predator?" I said, "No." I said, "Oh, you were Simon to go and watch it." so Human Traffic is next on the list.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think it's, obviously it's kind of dated, but it's not dated because it's of that time. It's supposed to be about then, and it's a really good kind of summation. Like there was loads of films, especially towards the end of the 90s, where they were trying to do like, oh yeah, we'll try and capture clubbing. Yeah, and so many of them failed. And
exactly.
Human Trafficking is just a good kind of all-rounder. It kind of, because it's basically one big night out, and it's kind of you tick off the boxes of like, I know that.
Yeah, I agree. I think another film, if you're into scratch DJs and the hip hop, is a film called Scratch, which I've got some. That's really good if you're into hip hop. It's just a good history of hip hop, and I remember watching Pump Up the Volume.
Yeah,
that was on Channel 4 a long time ago now. It's so old. I recorded on VHS tape.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to crack on with some questions then. I'm going to start off with COVID. So what I want to look at here is just sort of your experience going into lockdown, like when you locked down, what you were doing, whether you were still working, whether you worked more or less, and also look at sort of how you think that changed work for you. So you can either talk about one or the other or both, however you want to kind of speak about it. But yeah, take us through your COVID experience.
It was like weird because this is once in a lifetime. This is once in a generation where a pandemic. So I remember the weird thing was I'm into running. So that same year, before the first lockdown happened, a few months before that, when Boris Johnson was still Prime Minister at that point, and he was saying that he's going to get 3,000 cases. I'm like, no, it's in the country, but you just don't know it yet. Because I'm a realist at the end of the day. And that's probably why I get so anxiety, because I was thinking what the worst possible thing. But I ran the big half marathon in London.
Okay.
And thinking about it now, what we knew about that, we had no vaccine at that point. And then they put it, and it was like quite tightly packed and everything. So I could have been exposed to COVID at that point, never knew it. So I ran that. Then all of a sudden, a few months later, we had the first lockdown a couple of years ago. The problem was because all the business closed and they sent all us home because they closed the office because of the lockdown.
Yeah, were you at the office at that point?
Yeah. So I was working from the office. Then COVID happened. Then they shut the office down. But luckily, a bit before that, we got taken over by a big hire company like Tesco's sort of. So Tesco does sort of like that kind of thing. And then COVID happened. And then we all got sent home, and then at that point, the work was drying up because all the gyms were closed, and they didn't. And I was fearing for my job at that point because they made some people redundant. And I was like, okay, they're gonna make everybody else redundant. And the business at that point, if we had a massive long lockdown like years, the business could have gone completely kaput.
Yeah,
and so that was my main worry. So, but luckily. The nice thing about them, though, because just before, because you had that, then the government put the furlough scheme in. The chancellor at that point, I think was it Rishi Sunak?
Yeah, it was Rishi.
Yeah, which could be the next Prime Minister, which I've got no qualms about, because I think he's the only person in the entire government I kind of trust a little bit with the economy, because he's got his head screwed on, and he knows what happened. So he put the furlough thing in place to help people. So the company decided to make it like almost furloughed. Only because there was no working, and the company paid tops it up, so I got paid a full whack for 3 months. So I basically got paid just to do nothing and play video games. like DJing. But the problem then was I couldn't DJ because I couldn't. The Hyde Park Book Club was closed.
Yeah.
And then I was worried that then they might. It's a community thing. They don't have that much money. I was worried that they might go under. So then after about 3 months, they got me back because they started opening again at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said just right, work from home until further notice. And then I had to go and get my PC, get my chair, and which I got sitting beside me because I had an old chair, but it did my back in. So I said, so you take a chair from the office, which is really good because it's quite a nice chair. This.
Yeah.
And then I think I was made. I think I was made furloughed again when another lockdown happened. So it's up and down.
Yeah.
The problem for me is with furlough, especially, I couldn't see my friends, I couldn't see my family, and I'm a very social person. And people don't realize the effect it can have COVID on some people like me who's not that confident. It made me really depressed because I couldn't see anybody.
Were you living at home on your own?
Yeah, I moved to this place in 2006. I was living here with my sister Norman lives here, and I just felt really down about the situation because I didn't know what was going to happen. The
first couple of weeks was kind of like, from my memory, was kind of like, oh, okay, and you're kind of ready for it.
Yeah.
But then, like, it's like when you do anything, sort of like third week in or whatever, it's done. Kind of.
Exactly.
I'm not sure about this. No, I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's because loads of people like, oh, you get furloughed and you get paid to do nothing. But the problem then is I've always been the person that's worked since a young age.
Yeah.
I've never not had a job.
Yeah.
I've only ever been unemployed for my life. I could start work for like 3 months at a time. And I had to get job seekers allowance at that point. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to use my tax now. That's where my taxes went.
Was that your first time signing on as well? Was that your first
Yeah, it was. I remember going to the job centre in Leeds and I walked in and I was like, this is so depressing because I get the sense that people there simply just to collect their door money and not even look for a job, which made me really frustrated. The people, that's the one thing I won't go too much into it. It makes me mad sometimes that people use our door money for other things other than finding a job. Because I used it to find a job. It kept me going for 3 months. That's what it's meant for. It's not meant to live on. But people just abuse the system. The people don't realize it as well. I pay tax. I'm contributing to the welfare state. And I don't. It finds me frustrating that people are abusing the system. But anyway, that's a debate for another day. And I just tried to get through it the best I could. And my mind just saying there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I still have a job at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I've got to thank the government for that.
Yeah.
And and Richie Sunak for doing the right thing, even though he's put us on a load of debt. He had no choice really at the end of the day because if he didn't do that, we have nothing to come back to. We have no economy, so it's the lesser of two evils. So and then I just soldiered on really. So I remember doing the last open turntables back then. I had that book club. With like masks and stuff, and they were very like I put hands on my hands all the time. Because loads of people touch the DJ decks and our night because 7 or 8 people DJ.
Yeah, and then you're thinking like, but I'm in a room with loads of people breathing.
Yeah, exactly. Because so I was like,
okay, surely at this point we all know and understand the risks, and we're all
exactly
take these risks.
True.
But it's that difficult thing of it was a crazy time.
It was, and I think Tony whole lines of Christmas parties over Zoom to keep all the community going. So then eventually, when we got the vaccines, they started opening up. When I started getting back to normal, we could start DJing again. But at that point, we still wore masks a little bit. We still used hand sanitizer. I was very conscious not to touch my face, my hands while I was DJing. Because I was conscious of hands because for a person that's suffering from anxiety, having this stage of COVID was the worst because I had to go shopping and then is that person got COVID? Is it in the air? And my brain's playing tricks on me the entire time. If you get what I mean. COVID is invisible, really.
Yeah.
But I got through that, and then when Hyde Park Book Club, could people allow people back in because they opened up eventually about a year after the first lockdown happened. but it was takeaway only. So I tried supporting the best way I could. Where I go and buy loads of coffee, I was getting a cake because I got on with them as well. A lot of them from there because they're like family to me.
Well, there was a big push as well, wasn't there? Of like, you know, so and not just locally. I mean, Leeds is good locally for kind of like support local businesses, but there was a national kind of push as well of like, you know, support local businesses.
Yeah,
I remember, you know, that being quite a theme, and even on this, you know, like talking to people, and they'd be like, I want to support local businesses. Yeah. So being at home, how did you adjust to working from home? Was that quite easy for you, or did you end up working more hours? How good were you with the work-life balance and sort of separating work from life and home life?
I was very bad at it at first because the thing with the office is I used to work where the office.
It's very definite now, isn't it? You go there.
I go there, do the work, come back. But the problem with working from home, there's no separation as such, because literally when I finish work when I finish work, I'll literally walk there and there. But the problem with this is because work's really stressful at the minute. This is the place where I do the editing of OpenDecks and I do my producing, and it's kind of got really bad connotations. So I really did struggle with that at the beginning, and it's so easy to work an extra hour. Just I get extra hour one odd day or 3 days a week. But the problem with that is it takes a lot because I work 8 hours a day anyway. And then eventually it catches up with you, and then you can't sleep properly, because I had trouble problem sleeping like during the early COVID times, because I was like, have I got COVID? Am I going to wake up? And stuff like that. I mean, it's a real thing, because we lost loads of famous people through COVID and stuff like that. But my mate said, you run marathons, you're not a high risk category. You haven't got underlying health conditions, so that I could still die from COVID. But my chances are much reduced compared to my dad, who's 70. But when we started on the vaccines, and then that made me a bit easier. But now I don't wear a mask that much now, unless I feel very uncomfortable. But people still wear masks, but that's fair play. I respect that. If they want to do that, that's fair enough. But I don't tend to wear a mask now. But I'm conscious. I do see hand sanitizer. I'm so conscious of COVID because it won't go away. It will still be there.
Numbers are rising again as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably because of like new variants and circulation. But we can't keep locked down forever. So
no, and I don't think that people would again.
No, is that
like, you know, exactly. Sort of, it was kind of demanded from the bottom. Like the way I see it is, it was demanded from the bottom last time. Like people demanded it from the government. And that last one was more the government just going, right, everybody going, well, to a degree, but so there's a risk of it being a tool that they want to use over and over again. But I also think that people wouldn't really, because it was just like, there was good things about lockdown. It was quiet and the skies were quiet and you had time and so on. But there was lots of bad things about lockdown as well. And it was hard and stressful. And like, even if you were comfortable,
it was.
How were you for like your mental well-being, other than the initial panic? Like as we got further in, did you get quite used to sort of going out and making yourself get some exercise and kind of some fresh air? Do you have space? Do you have a garden or anything? Or
I don't have a garden, but I've got like a little bit outside, which is a private road where I used to just play football, and when I couldn't go anywhere, and stuff like that. But my mental well-being took a massive hit when COVID was first around, because I was like, oh, well, I can't go see my friends, or I can't go to the shops, and I can't see my friends for work because we use like Zoom at work and Microsoft Teams and Discord, but that doesn't substitute being in real life. Because I used to, when I was working in the office, I used to like go and chat to everybody for 5 minutes and broke up the work day. But now working from home, it's like it seems like I'm always doing something. Compared to that, because I in the office where I went, I got a coffee, chat for 5 minutes, went back, and stuff like that. I mean, even because they allowed you to do that as long as you weren't taking the mickey or anything. But I think that's fair enough. I got all my work done, and I think it broke up the work day. But I must have, during the first lockdown, when literally everything went down, shut down. I walked up to the main road, which I did anyway because I was interested. And I walked down. I was like, so quiet. It was no cars. I couldn't hear any planes in the sky. It was like I got a pin drop. It was so ill because I'm so used to that road being busy full of cars and walking out the middle, but no risk getting knocked over.
Well, that's it. Walking down the middle of the ring road or something.
Yeah,
just like,
exactly.
This is mad.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I going to ask you then? I think it was on well-being stuff. Oh yeah, brakes. Like, were you quite good at sort of putting in brakes for yourself, or did you just work continuously?
I did work continuously for a bit, and then I got better at they were putting brakes in.
You had to sort of force yourself.
I had to force myself.
I need to do this, otherwise.
Yeah. I forced myself to start working. I have to do that sometimes because I don't like leaving things undone. I like doing everything all at once. And
when you've got a lot to do, you just kind of like, I want to crack on, and
exactly. It's like when I go shopping in the supermarket. I walk very quick. People must think I'm stressed, but it's just the way I walk. I was
just want to get shit done.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to just do my shopping and get out. That's all I want, because I clearly remember when we had to wear masks in supermarkets. When it was really busy last time, in panic attacks and
queuing outside the supermarket.
I remember that. I do remember that. That was a surreal experience. But the good thing was, because there was limited amount of people in the supermarket, we got to with the mask. It was quite nice.
Yeah,
there's not many people in it. So that was good, I guess.
Okay, let's crack on to Brexit then. And this was sort of round about the time as well with COVID. The question is, how has Brexit changed your work? Like, have you noticed any change? Has it been good, bad, positive, or no change?
I haven't noticed any changes to our actual procedures at work. I think that's remain the same, because I voted against even the EU because I thought I just didn't see the benefit of it. So we're still going through Brexit now, and we'll go through it forever at this point. And by the time Brexit's fully done, we might best just stick in the EU anyway. But I did notice changes with our customer side to handle those. Like so we have customers in Ireland, and then with that we do direct debits and stuff like that. I won't go too much details, but like changes with Brexit, because that was now an independent country. Yeah, technically that is still part of the EU. Yeah, so we had to deal with that, and so forth. So
it's just been like technical changes. Has that meant a difference in, like, has it changed the level of work that you have to do?
No, it's just technical for me. I think I was in the.
It's just like a new thing you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing you have to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm not in the industry it's going to be vastly affected by it, but it's just a technical directive that you have to be conscious of, with like direct debits. Maybe that they will help that. I just have to be conscious of it, really, at the end of the day. So,
how are they for staffing levels then? Has it affected staffing levels at all, or has that not been a concern? I mean, like the thing that businesses seem to be complaining about, from what I hear on stuff that I watch. Yeah, it's like, we staff, we need the staff, we can't get the staff.
No, I can't see any problem with staffing levels. The issue our company has had, to a certain extent, the IT support IT job market now is very competitive, and people are going, sometimes when you get two similar jobs, they're going for the most paid job. So that I've seen that as effect from a company that's struggling to recruit people, but no direct things from Brexit as far as like recruitment or anything like that. So
cool. Okay, let's do climate change. Basically, I asked this because Leeds has declared a climate emergency. The question is around what you do in your work. What can you do, like, to mitigate, adapt to climate change, or raise awareness around it? Or is it not a concern? Is it not something that, like, you can afford to worry about?
It is concerning for me, because I just worry about future generations of children and stuff like that. So one of the things that makes me think, do I really want to bring a child in where in the future they have to deal with climate change and what's happening with Russia and stuff like that? Because I grew up in the 90s. I'm thinking about it now. That was quite a nice future to grow up in. Climate change was still a thing at that point. It was still going on. But
brief period between the fall of the Berlin Wall and the end of the century.
Yeah. I got fond memories of it growing up in the 90s, and it was like, and so But the thing is, for me, there's not much I can do in my work to say electricity. I have to use a PC for 8 hours a day. Most of my laptop there.
Well, you've stopped commuting though.
Yeah. So I've stopped commuting. So I've now worked from home. So I've changed my contract. So I've done that. I try to recycle more. I try to use less, turn my PC on for less amount of time. Don't leave it on all the time. And stuff like that. So I'm conscious of the environment. I mean, especially vinyl. So vinyl is probably not the most environmentally friendly thing to make to a certain extent. It creates a lot of CO2,
and it's plastic.
And it's plastic. I try to use least amount of plastic possible. Because
that's part of the charm with it as well, though, isn't it? Because it's vinyl. It's a physical thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not like it's floating in the sea. It's there. You own it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got a massive CD collection where I grew up in the era when compared to now it's all digital and like things you can't physically touch. I grew up in there where I used to go to HMV to buy CDs, vinyl, which I'm quite pleased about to a certain extent, because I feel like the birth of the MP3, you lose something.
Yeah.
With that, because I like nothing more going downstairs, sticking CD on and just reading a magazine. I listen to that. So I'm very much like a touchy feely kind of person when it comes to like physical stuff.
Did you get more into music? I'm sorry to go back to lockdown, but I'm just kind of, did you get more into music in lockdown, or did your interest wane? Because like I used to be really into my music, and then the last few years I've just been rubbish with it.
I think I got more into it because then I had more time to explore different musical genres such as rock, rap, and more time to go down the rabbit hole, especially with Spotify.
Yeah. Did you find yourself just going crazy with all sorts of stuff and like, oh, this is all new? Then
exactly. It's like, oh, what's this? Not this. So I'm going to listen to this. I mean, that's Spotify for me is changed music forever for me, because I still like to buy the physical CD. Well, my mates just listen to Spotify all day and not bother about having the physical thing. But I use Spotify as a music discovery service. If I like it, I'll go and buy the MP3 or find the CD, even if it's on eBay, for example. Because the problem is now is with especially with the video game market, where if you buy something digital, the company such as Microsoft
you don't own it.
I don't own it. Look at Stadia, for example. Remember Google? You're going to get a refund all the money, but you didn't own any of that. Google shut it down. That's the thing with digital.
But they don't even have to refund it, do they? They're just like, oh, that's expired now, or we're taking it away, or we've closed that service down. It's like,
okay. Is it exactly? But I mean, the Google could have quite easily done that. Just close it down, no refund. But that's actually quite nice of them. They've actually started to refund it. But then a few weeks later, they break out the Google Chrome streaming PC. I was like, oh, that's why you should stay it down. Just gonna do that instead. So, but my love interest did grow during lockdown because I had more time, and it kept me going because I like this music. I like to start songs in a way to make me feel better, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like that REM, the Everybody Hurts song. That's when my sister said to me, I said, why listen to that? But when you listen to the lyrics, it all makes sense. Yeah, it's a great song. Sad songs can be powerful songs in a way. So
yeah. I don't want to get lost in going too much into music talk.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Kill loads of time.
So we'll go back to climate change briefly. I will say, so, you know, you've dropped your commute kind of thing in terms of your customer base. Are you, I mean, what's the scale you're working on? Are you doing across the water to Ireland? Like, are you working globally? Is it?
We do have customers in Ireland, Scotland, England, New Zealand. We're one customer in New Zealand. The actual servers is a web-based application. So you need to access the internet connection. So in one way, that's pretty good because we can all work from home, and we can all not drive to the office every day. We can use save carbon like that. I mean, we're big in regards to carbon output. We're quite big because we have to have data centers everywhere. But we can ask them. The governments around are probably trying to make them more efficient anyway, to a certain extent, because you take in the server room, for example, you have to have loads of massive fans to cool the servers down because heat and computers don't mix. So,
yeah, and they get hot.
Exactly. My personal PC has 6 fans on it to keep it cool.
Yeah. And then there's, you've got to keep the conditions like clean as well, because otherwise
exactly.
Dust and
exactly. Dust, water, and heat. Don't like computers. Don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Yeah. So I suppose like server wise and stuff. But I mean, how is the company on it? Do they talk about it much? Is it something that's like, all right, well, we've gone completely renewable energy, or like, is it something that you come across sort of in your work?
I wouldn't say so. No, I mean, the company hasn't really much said about it. I don't think it's said that much about climate change to a certain extent. I've been so busy recently with trying to help everybody with my department. I
don't know what the company's saying. Yeah. I know what the customers are saying.
Yeah, exactly. I have to concentrate on that. As I love to go to like Facebook workplace kind of thing and read everything, but I've got no time. I've got no time.
Actually know what the company's about. And what direction in there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But that's the challenge for the future. Every single company that does this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that could affect Microsoft, Sony, a lot of them. I mean, Microsoft is a lot of server farms everywhere. So that's got to. I think Microsoft is trying to take steps now to trying to at least be more efficient. Because I appreciate people have a right to post about the climate and everything, but people think we can just turn everything off. That's never going to happen. It's impossible. So it's got to be a gradual thing. It's got to be a gradual phase to that, but everything's going to be sorted through because, you can buy an electric car, which is good in theory, but the batteries take a lot of carbon to produce. That's carbon output. And when the batteries die, where are they going to go? You can't put them in the bin. You can't really put them in landfill and stuff like that. So it's going to require
lithium coming from, and who's going to get it?
Exactly. Who's going to the world has a finite amount of resources at the end of the day, and what people don't talk about is population. That's always missed out, but that's important because if people have more and more babies, which is fair play, I'm not saying don't have a baby, but you're gonna get to a point when you're gonna have a tipping point where the finite amount of resources is going to be lower. Is going to be lower than the amount of people. If you get where I'm coming from. Once you got to that point, you can't go back.
But you also have to bear in mind that, like the population explosion since the sort of Second World War onwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Has been driven by oil. It's been driven by the calories of oil. Like, that's gone into the ground as fertilizer. That's gone around the world. It's like taking goods and services and medicines and technologies and extending people's lives and so on.
Yeah.
As those calories go away, which they will. Like you're running out of oil, and also the type of oil that you're getting at this point is lower and lower quality. You have to put more energy into getting it out. And as those calories go away,
exactly,
will go as well. I mean, like countries in the West, places like Japan, where you've got aging populations, or here now where you've got aging populations, it's like we're going to have a crunch in the other way of like not enough people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like the distribution of things. It's like everything that you go into, you crack it open. It's like more and more and more.
It's like a program where everything impacts everything else.
Yeah.
So that's why I created
change one variable and then it alters everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's go on to UBI. So I think this will be quite interesting with you. So do you know what I'm talking about when I talk about universal basic income?
Roughly, I've read about it.
So you've got an idea of it.
I've got an idea, but I'm not clued up on it as much as other people are. But
okay, well, it'll be interesting to see how you interpret it. Okay. So if you had a universal basic income, so you're getting a stipend and your basic needs are being met. So you've got enough, say, to pay your bills, pay your rent, and some money for food, so you can live like a standard life.
Yes.
If that was the case, would you still work? If you would still work, would you still be doing what you do now? And if you'd still be doing what you do now, would you do it in the same way? Would you do it as much? Would you do less? Would you do more? Like what would it change for you work-wise?
I think I think I would still work because I can't see myself not working. My dad's now retired, but he's more busy than ever before. So I think I inherited that trait. So I can still see myself working, but maybe not as much because I think work's still important for me to socialize and has one of the other benefits. I mean, I remember talking to my mates a long time ago. If you won the lottery, my mates said, "Oh, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't work," but I would still work to a certain extent because you can have all the money in the world, but it doesn't bring happiness. I just want to be happy then, end of the day. I mean, some people want to earn lots of money, but it's all different things to different people. But I think having a load of money isn't going to make me happy to a certain extent. Just that. It's going to be other factors in place, such as friends, family, what I do, and stuff like that. What I might do is I might work less hours because I can afford everything, and then concentrate more time on DJing. Because like DJing for me is it takes a lot of my spare time as much as running does. But that's my two passions in life. So I spend many hours a week searching for new tunes for OpenDecksFC, thinking about musical ideas, and then stuff like that. So I mean, probably work less.
Would you volunteer at your day job? I mean, like, because you do the DJing like for free sometimes. Like ideally you want to get paid, but I'm sure on more than one occasion you have done that as a free gig.
Yeah, I do.
And that is work. That's unpaid work. Like,
yes.
If you were getting a UBI, do you think there's any chance that you would like volunteer at your job?
I think I will. I think I would do.
Yeah, like maybe a couple of hours a week of just like, I'll come and help out.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've got good relationships. But I think I would be interested in doing that.
I mean, you don't sound. I mean, you say you work. You've got that work ethic, but you don't sound like you kind of. You don't overwork yourself too much, kind of thing. You don't sound like you do sound like you've got a. Like I can draw a line here. Okay, maybe I work a bit too much sometimes, but I will put a stop to it, and this other thing that I want to do as well. Like,
yes,
is that fair? Yeah,
I think that's fair. Because my boss had even said to me, just if you want to do more work to make you feel better, have a cut-off point, and that's what I've been doing recently. So if I'm going to work a bit more, 2 hours extra during the week, we're unpaid because I work on a salary just to get some stuff done. Do it constructively and say, okay, I'll do it on Monday and Friday. When 7 o'clock comes, then I stop.
Yeah,
because otherwise I'll keep going and going and going. I won't realize the time. Because I've been investing in some tickets. I'll look at the time and like, oh, I finished like hour and a half ago. We should stop now. So,
I mean, I've done stuff like that in jobs, and it's kind of, and I kick myself because my attitude is like, no, they stop paying you off the clock. Don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be doing this, that, and the other.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, but I will do sometimes. You get into stuff, don't you? And you just like, oh.
Yeah, especially like a really interesting ticket. You just find out what the issue is, and then you want to finish it off.
Yeah, like,
at least get to a certain point. Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's covered UBI. We've done lockdown, we've done Brexit, we've done climate change. Oh, social media. So suppose, I'm guessing this is going to be more for your DJ side, but yeah, like how much work time do you have to spend, or time for work do you have to spend on social media? Like, do you have to do, I've broadened this out as well. So my initial thinking was like all the, the platforms and posting, but I'm also considering as well, like, because it seems like basically everyone's moved to Teams or Slack or whatever since lockdown. So even if people were using Zoom for a bit, they've now, like, everyone's got whatever internally. So how much time do you have to spend on social media for work? And do you think that time is well spent, and sort of, does it give value for money for the amount of energy that you've put into it? Like, does it give a good return for you, do you think?
I think it does. The only downside of Zoom and also Discord, which you use, you have to wait for them to get back to you. And that's downside, because in an office environment, you walk up to somebody, ask them a question. Than that, and I used to do that all the time. Especially, I had a good relationship with all of the departments, and I got friends there. So I could walk to them, ask them a quick question, and they're willing to help me. Then I would go back to my desk. But with Teams and Zoom, they or emails, I have to wait potentially days or half a day or that. But so what I've learned to do now is I've learned to ask them a question and go and do something else that I can actually do while waiting for them to get back to me. So, and I use Microsoft Teams a hell of a lot, because I use that for like internal messaging, talking to clients, for example, customers. Discord is used for like simulating an office environment. So I log into Discord, and then those in there regularly. It's another person I work with. He asks me questions. Sometimes we chat about random stuff, which is good, because then that breaks up the day a bit. So I'm not staying at a PC screen and just doing work and answering phone calls. So I use that a lot, and Discord is free, which is good. And I've started using that now for other stuff. I'm in Van Buren's, which is a DJ Discord server. So I use that for outside of work as well. So
yeah, I think the best of these tools are normally built by and for gamers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know what they're doing, and they're spending all the time on it, and they're just like, yeah, right, I need it to do this, and that's what it's going to do, and then it does it well. Okay, so I think, is that what? No. I've got another sort of final question, which is, if you could change any three things about your work, and again, you can consider both the DJing and the IT work. So yeah, you can change any three things about your work. What would you change?
It's a difficult one. People think probably it's easy question, but it's not that easy.
So they can be fantastical as well. They don't have to be like all reasonable and pragmatic, but whatever you want, basically, how you interpret that. And you don't have to have three. And if you wouldn't change anything, that's fine too.
One thing I would probably change about my work maybe is my current job is maybe I sort of think is maybe the company in like having a monthly meetups where we have to meet up, where they're organizing it amongst ourselves, because we have to meet up, then we're more like a routine and stuff like that. That's one thing I would change. I've got no criticism where they do stuff, but I think that's one thing I would change, I think. So that's one thing. I think as far as DJing's concerned, a DJ one's difficult because we have a lot of different levels of DJ.
I mean, would it be nice to have like an agent on that front, of just someone who was there booking your gigs? And
actually, that's one thing that I could never afford an agent, but that's what I would probably. That's one thing if think about actually that you thought a really good one actually. If one thing I would change is if I could have an agent or be part of a DJ company. That's the one thing I would. Then that's one thing I would change. So the problem is, we're trying to promote yourself. I just don't simply have the time sometimes to do that.
You've got to work yourself up as well. Sometimes, like I do. Yeah. It's just like, oh, go and tell everyone how great you are. Oh, all right then.
I'm the worst person at that, because the thing is, I think I class myself as a very humble person. I don't like to say I'm good at anything. So I see that as having an ego when in fact I don't. But that's the one thing that's the conflict in me. So one thing I would change about DJing is I would have an agent where he does the light work for me. But no, I could never afford that, but that'd be nice. There's one thing I wish I could change now. I can't change now because I'm getting towards 40. I've DJing since 2000, it's like 20 years. I wish at that point, I had more confidence to take it further at that point and be more proactive, because I have a lot more free time than compared to now. That's one major regret I do have. But
do you think that was a matter of? Do you think you're braver now, or do you think you were more fearless then?
I think I'm more braver now, but back when I was growing up and especially in high school, I didn't have that many friends. I was kind of a loner, if you can call me that. And I struggled to talk to people. I got bullied quite a lot, which made things really hard. So I think I'm less. I think the fears have gone slightly now.
Yeah.
But at that point, I think it was easy to say the easy route out and just play video games, than rather than try and go to a random stranger and then hand out stuff, because like at nightclubs, because that's one that has changed me since COVID. I'm still apprehensive about going to a nightclub. My mates have said gone clubbing. I've said to them no, because I don't want to have a panic attack. But they say to me, you don't have that. Well, I did it. I've had panic attacks in supermarkets when COVID was really bad. And the worst, I don't want to annoy all the other clubbers by having a panic attack in the middle of the dance floor. So that's the one thing I would change. Actually, I would. That's one thing I always struggle with.
How do you square that circle? I mean, because there's obviously a part of you that wants to go out and be there and have that.
Yeah.
Like, would you do you enjoy being in that? Like, or do you just spend the whole time like worrying about not having a good time? Like, how do you enjoy that? Like,
it's weird because I've a really good relationship with the clubbing going out. Because I used to go clubbing quite a lot when I was younger. But as I got older, it just became for me. Oh, I'm going out, drinking a lot of beer and stuff, and it's not. It just lost it. I've done it. Got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
So that's the conflict in my mind, because I will still go clubbing if I was DJing. That's a completely different thing. I'm behind a set of decks in my element, and I'm not like smashed against people or anything like that. Because to a certain extent, even before COVID, I kind of like clubbing lost its floor, because the thing is, my mates don't really like house music at all or dance music, like cheesy music.
Yeah.
And then every single when you go to when you go out on a cheesy night out, they play the same tunes again
and again.
Can't
enjoy it. Yeah.
And I can't enjoy it, because for me, going out like Dave Haslam did.
Yeah.
He played tunes I was familiar with, but played tunes I didn't know. And that's my ideal happy medium. But the cheesy one are, it's Bon Jovi. Oh, okay, I've heard that. Oh, it's Madonna. I've heard that.
Yeah.
The thing is, the good thing about lockdown is because I didn't go out. I didn't listen to much cheesy music. So when so for example, I just during lockdown, I listened to like Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer," which is played to death in the cheesy club. But after about 6 months, it was really good. heard it for ages, but you can overexpose a track anyway at any point during the day. I mean, there's that's the thing with dance music. There's the same DJs that hammer the same club, same music, especially when I was going out clubbing.
Yeah. But then as well, you want those standards as well, don't you? Like but you want like, bangers in there and like big names and
exactly. But it all goes back to the DJing is much more than just putting two records together and just pressing play. I mean, to a certain extent, people with DJ with OpenDecksFC, they just want to play some record, which is fair enough. I respect that. It just I just DJ in the way I learned from the early DJs, and that's why I grew up like it. And that's the thing I'll always do. So
cool.
People say I'm an expert, but I'm not an expert. I'm just doing it for ages.
Yeah, but would you say you're a professional?
To a certain extent, I reckon given the opportunity, because there's opportunity next year potentially to have an entire night. So I think there's potential for me to DJ the entire night. Yeah, I've got enough music.
Yeah, you've got enough and experience as well, and knowledge. Like, I mean, the time that you spend in, like, when you tell yourself these things, like, my thing was always film and like, buy DVDs and stuff. And like, oh, it's all research, like watching these films is like, it's training for me. Yeah, and that's a load of bullshit when you're buying them. It's just an excuse to buy them. But it's also like, it's also kind of actually true. Like, you are learning stuff about music by listening to those new songs and buying records and playing with them in different ways. Yeah.
So I see buying music as an investment at the end of the day. I separate it out from an investment. I just got to be careful though, otherwise I'll spend too much money. I can't afford to eat. So that's one thing that's always in the back of my mind. It's a balancing act where I've got to buy stuff that I will play out that is worthwhile to my collection. So,
yeah, and you've got to have a vice, haven't you? You've got to have something.
I've got to do something.
You've got to do something with the money that you've earned. Like, why the hell else are you earning it? Like,
exactly. Why do I go to work?
So there's other stuff that I could kind of investigate and so on. I might come back to some stuff, but what I want to do, I'm going to basically look to throw it over to you. I didn't mention this in my spiel.
Okay.
So normally at the end, I like when I've done all my questions, I'll throw it over to you so you can talk about anything that you might want to flag up or anything that we might not have covered that you want to kind of expand on. So I would say, yeah, now's the time to drop any socials and give us the date for the Utah Saints as well.
The Utah Saints gig is 16th of December.
Yeah.
Let me just double.
You said it was December.
I think it is December. I'll put it on my Google Calendar somewhere. The screen. Where is it? Oh yeah, I'm also DJing York Record Fair on the 5th of November.
York Record Fair.
Yeah, there's a record fair that takes a York's race course. So I DJed there last year, and the guy likes me so much. He's asked me back in for an hour, and he's going to pay me 30 quid.
Nice.
So I'm not going to say no. Yeah. So we've got OpenDecksFC, which is the night I went with Tony. That's coming up on the 18th of November. So I'm looking forward to that. Utah Saints is the 16th of December. So I'm already thinking about my set for that at the minute. I'm thinking about what tunes I could play and stuff like that. Because I might play a mixture of digital and also vinyl because there's going to be some CDJs there. So that's one thing to be nervous because DJing on CDJs for me is completely different to DJing on vinyl. So but I'm up for the challenge. But
have you had much practice with it then?
No, what I need to do actually, there's pirate radio studios in Kirksall, I think there is, which has professional equipment in.
Yeah.
And which is quite reasonable. So I think you've got to pay like a bit of money for 3 hours.
Yeah. It's not an illegal place. It's called Pirate, isn't it? Pirates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen them. It looks pretty cool.
It's not like the pirate radio stations. Yeah. Like back in the day. But I think that's about it. But also try to do more mashups for Open Decks, actually, not Open Turntables.
Where are you? What are you on Mixcloud?
So I'm on Mixcloud. My Twitter profile is DJ Pen 10. I don't use Facebook as much as Twitter, but the thing I like about Twitter is it goes to my 600. I got 600 followers on it, and I got a much bigger reach.
Yeah.
Than Facebook. I don't have a separate Facebook for DJing. Well, I'm on Mixcloud as DJ 303 at work.
Nice.
And I'm also on Instagram as just myself. Actually, the weird thing about Instagram, I got a fun story about that. I didn't realize somebody signed up an Instagram account using my Benedict Lindley at gmail.com email address. So it was some woman somewhere overseas that did it. I was like, okay, it's weird. So I looked into it, reset the password. That's my own email address. I don't know what I was about to do. I decided to take the pictures off because it was my email address.
Yeah.
I thought I was in. I thought I was in the right to do that. I don't know whether it's the case or not. But so on Instagram, I was just myself again. So DJ Mr. MR B 07. So that's that. So my plans in the future to do more social networking. Just take some risks actually, because the worst thing to a promoter or a club organizer say no, and I'll just do that. And I want to do more live streaming as well. So I think that'd be more beneficial because I've got a Mixcloud Pro account where I can live stream, and I can do that in the comfort in my own home. The only issue with Mixcloud is he hasn't got much traction to Facebook or Instagram, for example. So it can kind of be only where DJs hang out. So I need to try and work out a way to get people on there from Facebook and Twitter, send them over to there.
Yeah.
So only takes some one person to listen to mix. Oh, it might be okay in that event. Just as your quicker flavors.
Yeah.
So because I would like to get my ultimate dream is to have a residency somewhere in a club in Leeds somewhere where I can keep my day job going, or play maybe once a week on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a warm up set.
Yeah.
Because then I get my foot in the door then, and then I can then progress into playing the midnight slot or whatever. Although I did play from 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning once, and that was a long day.
How far away do you think you are from like putting your own nights on? Like, do you think you could do that, or do you think that's like too scary at the moment, or do you think possibly in a few years, or just like, nah, I can do that?
I think I could do it. I think it's going to take up with Tony's help because he's been a DJ we've both been DJs for a while, but he's DJed a lot more in public than I have. Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of music, like indie music, where he's DJ more. He used to DJ in the cockpit a lot, so he's more used to it, and in his job he's more used to dealing with people like face to face compared to like me, who I mainly speak to him over the phone. So I think it's scary, but I could see myself maybe next year with what we're discussing with Tony, having my own night once a night at the Constitutional. Trying to promote that and do that because I don't have to go. I don't have the hand. I'm not the kind of person that can go out and hand out flyers and stuff like that. I don't think I'm that a confident person to do that.
But then you've got the customer service experience from your like call center work, your phone work. Like, do you think you're good on the phone? Like, but then again, that's inbound. You're dealing with people calling you, whereas it's a much different thing to go out and call people. Like exactly. I don't want to bother anyone. Like,
that's the thing. I don't want to bother them. So that's the thing. I think that's my ultimate goal. But I think with help with Tony, I reckon I could do that. So hopefully next year, we'll be discussing with him. There's an opportunity to put on a dance night at the Constitutional Plaza where I play from 7 to 11. But the good thing about that is I can literally play hip hop, deep house, and go right up. And I've got so much music. I can then do the entire night and show my musical taste, which is not just house music. And then and stuff like that. Because if I'm mixing hip hop, I might not do any beat mix. I might do some drop some simple fader cuts. And stuff like that, because I've just got to take the plunge at the end of the day. If you don't try something like marathon winning, like anything like that, then you don't know how it is. Because like I still remember my first ever marathon, boy, that was tough. So, I
mean, you're not shy ambition wise, are you? Like,
no, I think ambition. I'm quite an ambitious person, but I'm very shy of in other aspects of getting if you get where I'm coming from. It's difficult to explain.
But it's that kind of it's the fear of how situations will go, I think.
It's the fear of failure as well.
Yeah, fear of failure. But there's also that kind of like, you don't want to look like an idiot to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
As like being like ineffective, which considering the leadership that we have in the country, we shouldn't be worrying about.
Exactly. I don't want the worst fears like this a famous DJ walks into the club where I'm DJing, and then I'm just not, and then it's all going wrong. I'm like, that's the kind of fears I have. But
and it's kind of like these are ideas that should be there to kind of like warn you of worst case scenarios, not terrify you into doing them.
I know, exactly. The thing is, it's like a double-edged sword sometimes.
Thank you again to Benedict for being my guest. Thanks again to all my guests, and thanks to you, Leeds, for being my subject. And of course, most of all, thank you to you, my dear listener. And thank you to my 4 Patreons for sticking by me, and to my 3rd direct donor for their contributions, as well as thanks again to both of those other donors. I want to also thank the 5 iTunes listeners who've reviewed the show and have all rated the show 5 stars. We have some cracking episodes coming up to finish off Series 3, which overall I think has been a great series. I am still desperately seeking guests for Season 4, so please come on the show if you're in Leeds or from Leeds, whatever it is you do. I'm really keen to hear from people in polluting industries and people who make and sell useless nonsense. It's good to get a sense of what businesses are about at this time. What's common, what's unusual. There will be more content with Series 4. I know I keep threatening it, but there will be. Systems will be in place. My focus at the moment is to hit that 100 episodes as soon as possible, so I need 20-odd interviews booked in as soon as possible. Once I can hit 100 published episodes, then I can review and I can start using all of that content that I have from those 100 episodes to create other marketing content. There's a few other things cooking too, but I don't want to talk about any of that until any of it is further along. I also have a lot more to say about donations, but not now. For now, I will just say that I am offering a new £12 big time membership rate on Patreon, which is for anyone Flash. I want to try to sell 12 of these memberships, so I'm thinking about possible incentives to encourage people to buy them. If you have any big ideas on this or any other working hours front, then please tell me about them. You can follow this show on Twitter at Working Hours 3 and on Instagram at Working Hours Pod Leads. Use the hashtag Working Hours Pod Leads to stay up to date on when new episodes are being released, to DM me with your questions, or most importantly, to get in touch if you'd like to be my guest on this show. Please do chuck in anything you can to help the show grow. Go to ko-fi.com/working hours and join me there for £1 a month, or you can make a one-off donation of whatever amount. You can also go to patreon.com/working hours pod to support Working Hours, again from as little as £1 a month. Why not be super awesome and join both? Do something new and something different. Remember to like, share, follow and subscribe to Working Hours. That's me. Cheers ears. Take care out there and be kind to each other, Leeds. Working Hours is produced, recorded, edited and published by Simon Treen for Western Studios Leeds Limited. The music was The Bees from Chopin's Etudes, which is in the public domain and was taken from museopen.org. Please like Western Studios Leeds on Facebook at facebook.com/Western_Studios_Leeds and on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/company/Western-Studios. Leeds, are you considering taking the plunge into podcasts or audio content? Then think Western Studios for support, advice and guidance on getting it made. At Western Studios, you work with a real-life learner who is actually in Leeds. Not a piece of software, not a course of articles or a series of live chats and video courses, but me, a person in physical place-based reality. If you want to work with me to make your podcast or any digital audio content in Leeds, whether it's for your own cause, your publicity campaigns, to promote your products, increase your sales, or just to create your own passion projects, then get in touch with me, Western Studios, now. Don't wade through vapid articles and videos and podcasts about how to make podcasts by disembodied virtual people on the web. Get on with making your podcast now, and then when it gets hard and expensive and it all goes wrong, which it will, then call Western Studios to make your podcast with you or even for you. Western Studios will take on your podcast's boring, time-consuming and painful admin, recording, editing, transcription, whatever. Tell me about your podcasting pain points and I can make it all better for you. I feel your pain. For a charge, I will share it. Remember, podcast work is work. Leeds businesses, Leeds campaigns, Leeds brands. Got an inkling that you'd like a podcast but don't know where to start? Contact Western Studios at makemypodcast@western-studios.com and we'll start making your podcast straight away. The first hour of arranged consultation and pre-production time is free. £25 an hour after that for editing, recording, production. I can also arrange hefty discounts for the right project. So tell me your idea and your budget and I'll tell you what I can do for you. What do you have to lose? Time. That's what. Time is running out. The best time to make a podcast was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. Writers in Yorkshire, what are you doing with your lives? Hopefully you're writing. Well, I know there are listeners out there who want to hear great original writing performed as audio content that is about and for and has been made in Leeds. How do I know this? Because I'm one of them loiners what wants it. Help me make your old screenplays, unpublished novels, unperformed plays, stories, poems, and performances, whatever you got, baby, and make it as podcast content. Is your work arty, salacious, pulpy, strange? Good. Is it unfinished? Good. I can help you with that too. I can work with you to find actors, musicians, and voiceover artists and quickly realize your projects. I get practice making the shows and you get a finished, performed and published version of your writing. Save yourself the hassle and the headache of making your podcasts on your own by working with me instead.